guys, Side here. Welcome to the program. I just said wello. Oh, mellow, watermelon. Nah, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Today in this video, we're going to be going over Unit 3, air resistance in bikes. We're going to be going over specifically how air resistance applies in bikes specifically. Now, for those Kenyans watching, there are some updates for today. We have updated our curriculum. Unit 4 has been updated with e-bikes, and we also have Units 6, 7, and 8 also updated for you guys. Materials, design, engineering, wheel engineering, and future of bikes are also added. Unit 5, mechanics, stay tuned on that. Unit 5, to those watching, we have a very big project coming up. A mechanic is coming on the way. Unit 5, we're going to be going over these 6 topics, so stay tuned on that. The big project where we're going to have the CAD designs and how you're going to construct your bikes, that's where Unit 5 is going to be, so stay tuned on that as well. And to everyone watching, I hope you guys are enjoying the units as well. We're doing our best, and we're trying to provide best services possible with our program that we have started up. I also want to give a shout out to my team members as well. I want to give a shout out to all my team members. They're doing their best right now to create the CAD design work, and also they're doing their best with the limited resources that we have available. So we're doing the best we got. But anyways, without further ado, let's stop sparing so many details. Let's begin. So, air resistance in bikes. Now, how does it affect bikes? So, when riding against the wind, air resistance accounts for up to 90% of the resistance a biker will encounter, which is super bad for situations in which a biker will need to go fast, like in bike races, and maybe if you just want to get somewhere fast. In general, the more air resistance, the more windy a condition gets, meaning that means that you have to propel your bike forward, you have to move the pedals much more harder, because air resistance is going to counteract, it's going to fight against the amount of speed that you push with your bike, and that's very bad. 90% is a very, very huge percent of resistance that's produced when you are moving forward, which is very bad. And it slows down the bike too. And in fact, this actually makes a lot of sense, because very little things get in the way of a bike in motion, and while gravity, the force of the road on the tires, and the galling can all slow a biker, air resistance is, in fact, the greatest foe of them all. It slows you down very bad, and you have to figure out how to push yourself forward. So you can see here that these are some previous diagrams that we've also gone over. So yeah, we can see here that, notice that, pushing the bike forward is really, really hard. So forward force produced by riding the bike, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult if you have more air resistance flowing as well, which is very bad. Now, the science behind airy bikes, the drag equation. We use the drag equation to try to understand really how to calculate drag force. So we'll spare the complicated details about drag and equations that will do that, but here's the equation if you guys were curious. The drag force equation, this is F of D, this is the drag force, is equal to half times the fluid. The fluid is this, I believe it's the fluid density if I'm not mistaken. A is the cross-sectional area, CD is the coefficient of drag, and V squared is velocity of square. The forces that are applied during air resistance are here as followed. We have the drag, that's the air resistance itself. Air resistance is a fancy way of just saying drag. So we also have friction. Friction is also there at the bottom of their air resistance is just also applied as well. Thrust from the cyclist as well is also when you're pushing the bike forward. Now, it's usually on physics tests or whatnot, they talk about, without air resistance, but here, if it's on air resistance, a lot of these cases, air resistance is also a factor when bikes slow down, so that's something to know as well. What's important to know is that it applies the factors that we already know about drag and puts them into a formula. We did talk about types of drags, but here, now we're talking about really the actual juice of it, the actual fruits and juice into really the equation itself. So now, what were the factors we learned? Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, I have a sore throat and I have a runny nose, but don't worry, the cold never bothered me anyway, guys. Okay. Whoa, I actually used a frozen alkaline. Let's go. So now, what were the factors that we learned affected drag specifically, you may ask? Let's go over that. In the previous session we've gone over the actual factors that object speed, shape, air density, and cross-sectional area are in fact the factors that affect the air resistance. That is crazy. It is a brain explosion right there, puff, because you can see that a lot of the parameters in this equation are actually inputted by the factors, which is very, very insane. So that's very, very awesome. So yeah, now you guys should leave a comment down below. What do you guys think the drag force equation, how does this apply to the types of drags that we've gone over in the previous videos? Leave a comment down below. The science behind airy bikes, factors, that's right, the speed and shape and area of an object coupled with the surrounding air density affects It in fact affects how much drag is experienced. Now the factors in the equation, thus we can say that the drag force, or the F of D component of our biker, is equal to half of the surrounding air density, which is P, times the area of the biker, A, times the drag coefficient, which is the C subscript of D, which is different for every object, times the speed, V squared. It's just a fancy way of saying how this equation works. FD equals half times the... So in general, this whole paragraph, a lot of physics, a lot of people just try to make a whole complete sentence, which is completely fine. We can simplify it. So basically, in general terms, the drag force is equal to half times the air density, times that by the area of the biker, times that's the cross-section area, times that by the drag coefficient, times that by the speed square will give you the drag force. How do we combat air resistance, people might ask. People might ask, how do we combat air resistance, and those who are curious as well. So what was I just yapping about? What I mean is that if you're on a bike and you're trying to go fast, the only two factors that you can change that will actually decrease the amount of drag you experience are the density of the surrounding air and your surface area. If they're fractions, there is a high likelihood that the drag will decrease. So these two parts, the surface area, I'm not sure if it's a cross-section area, but it might be the surface area as well. So the surface area and the density of the surrounding air, these are probably the hugest factors that will actually decrease the drag coefficient. The other parameters, not so much. So yeah. Now the one solution that we can actually do to increase the amount of drag is to simply be at bikes at high altitudes. Bike at high altitudes. And how would this be a good solution? Well, it's going to avoid air pressure at lower altitudes. It's going to allow for higher and higher speed biking. And in general, it's going to look a lot cooler. It's going to be really, really, really cool to actually see this in motion. So that's very, very good to know as well. Another solution that we may ask on how to combat air resistance, well, it's another solution here is that we can just like how planes are designed to allow air pass freely, people can position themselves to be more streamlined. Specifically, what do we mean by streamlined? In specific, they can bend down while riding to provide the least resistance to wind, which allows more of their thrust to be spent on going fast rather than fighting the wind. So we can see here that if you're going at this speed, we can see that there's a lot of airfoil that's kind of being shown here, but we can see that if you go a little bit lower at here, you're going to be experiencing less resistance because in general, when you bend down, less resistance is going to occur, and that's going to allow more thrust to be going rather than fighting the wind. If you stand up, a lot of the pressure is going to go to your body, and the air is going to go streamline. It's going to go to your direction. It's going to slow you down if your posture is up. Go bend down to actually speed up a lot faster. That's a good way to combat air resistance if you guys are that determined to do so. I want to give a huge shout out as well to Brian. Brian made these slides. Without Brian, thank you, Brian, so much for making these slides. He's one of our value team members a lot. He really helped us with these slides, made a lot of entertaining slides for us for these videos. Thank you, Brian, so much. If you guys have any questions with biking specifically, please email us. You guys can also WhatsApp, or you guys can contact us through our number. And when sending questions, related or off related, write the question you have, send a picture associated with the diagram, and we will respond when we have the chance. Leave a comment down below what you guys liked in this video, and we'll stay tuned. Thank you guys.